Today our topic is the most inspirational Stoic stories from history. Stoicism is an ancient philosophy that teaches us how to live a good life by focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we cannot. It is about finding peace and strength within ourselves, no matter what happens outside. Many great people in history lived by these principles, and their stories can inspire us to face our own challenges with courage and calm. Let us look at some of these stories and see what we can learn from them. First, we have the story of Epictetus. He was born a slave in ancient Rome, which means he had no freedom and no control over his life. But Epictetus did not let his situation break him. Instead, he focused on what he could control, his mind and his attitude. He believed that even though he was a slave, no one could take away his inner freedom. He said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This idea became the heart of Stoic philosophy. Later, Epictetus gained his freedom and became a famous teacher. His teachings remind us that no matter how hard life is, we always have the power to choose how we respond. We can choose to be strong, calm, and wise, even in difficult times. Next, we have the story of Marcus Aurelius, who was one of the most powerful men in the world. He was the Roman emperor, but he faced many challenges during his rule. There were wars, plagues, and betrayals. Instead of letting these problems overwhelm him, Marcus Aurelius practiced Stoicism. He wrote a book called Meditations, which was like a diary for himself. In it, he reminded himself to stay humble, to focus on doing good, and to accept whatever happens with grace. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Even though he was the emperor, he knew that true power comes from within. His story teaches us that no matter how much responsibility we have, we can always stay calm and focused by practicing Stoic principles. Another inspiring Stoic story is about Seneca, who was a philosopher and advisor to the Roman Emperor Nero. Seneca faced many dangers in his life because Nero was a cruel and unpredictable ruler. Despite this, Seneca remained calm and wise. He believed that life is short and unpredictable, so we should not waste it on anger, fear, or regret. He said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This means that many of our worries are not real. They are just in our minds. Seneca also taught that we should prepare for difficulties before they happen. He said, "The wise man thinks about loss before it happens." This way, when bad things happen, we are ready to face them without fear. Seneca's life shows us that even in dangerous and uncertain times, we can find peace by focusing on what truly matters. Now let us look at the story of Cato the Younger, who was a Roman politician and a strong follower of Stoicism. Cato believed in living a life of virtue and integrity even when it was hard. He stood up against corruption and fought for justice, even though it made him many enemies. When Julius Caesar came to power, Cato refused to support him because he believed Caesar was a tyrant. In the end, Cato chose to take his own life rather than live under Caesar's rule. This may seem extreme to us today, but for Cato, it was a way to stay true to his principles. His story reminds us that living with honor and staying true to our values is more important than anything else. Even when the world is against us, we can choose to do what is right. Another great Stoic story is about Zeno of Citium, who was the founder of Stoicism. Zeno was a merchant, but one day his ship sank and he lost everything. Instead of giving up, Zeno turned to philosophy. He said, "I made a prosperous voyage when I suffered shipwreck." This means that losing his material wealth led him to discover something much more valuable: the wisdom of Stoicism. Zeno's story teaches us that sometimes our biggest losses can lead to our greatest gains. When life knocks us down, we can use it as an opportunity to grow and find new meaning. One more inspiring Stoic story is about Cleanthes, who was a student of Zeno and later became the leader of the Stoic school. Cleanthes was very poor and had to work as a water carrier to support himself while studying philosophy. Despite his hard life, he never complained. He believed that true wealth comes from the mind, not from money. Cleanthes worked during the day and studied at night, often writing on broken pieces of pottery because he could not afford paper. His dedication and hard work paid off, and he became one of the most respected Stoic philosophers. Cleanthes' story shows us that no matter how difficult our circumstances are, we can achieve great things if we stay focused and work hard. These stories from history remind us that Stoicism is not just a philosophy, it is a way of life. It teaches us to face challenges with courage, to stay calm in the face of adversity, and to focus on what we can control. The Stoics believed that the key to a good life is not in having more things or more power, but in having a strong and peaceful mind. They showed us that no matter what happens, we can choose to be brave, wise, and kind. So what can we learn from these Stoic stories? First, we learn that life is unpredictable, and we cannot control everything that happens to us. But we can control how we respond. We can choose to stay calm, to focus on what is important, and to act with integrity. Second, we learn that difficulties are a natural part of life. Instead of fearing them, we can see them as opportunities to grow stronger and wiser. The Stoics believed that challenges are like a fire that tests and strengthens us. Third, we learn that true happiness comes from within. It does not come from wealth, fame, or power, but from living a life of virtue and meaning. In our own lives, we can practice Stoicism by focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we cannot. When we face problems, we can ask ourselves, what can I do about this? If there is something we can do, we should take action. If there is nothing we can do, we should accept it and move on. We can also practice gratitude by appreciating what we have instead of focusing on what we lack. And we can remind ourselves that life is short, so we should make the most of every moment. The Stoic stories from history are not just about the past. They are about us. They remind us that we have the power to face life's challenges with courage and wisdom. They show us that no matter how difficult life gets, we can find peace and strength within ourselves. So let us take inspiration from these great Stoic figures and live our lives with purpose, integrity, and calm. Let us remember the words of Marcus Aurelius. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. By practicing Stoic principles, we can create a life of meaning and happiness, no matter what challenges we face.